right, there are many parenting styles, but have you ever heard of empowered parenting? I know my dad did. Dr. Erik Fisher is the author of The Art of Empowered Parenting, and he's here to tell us just what that means. Welcome back home. You grew up in Chagrin Falls, is that right?
Absolutely, I did.
Well, it's nice to have you back.
Well, it's great to be back.
All right, let's start with the bad news, okay? Because we have some statistics that show, according to the Pew Research Center, compared to 20 to 30 years ago, 56% of mothers say they are doing a worse job today. 47% of fathers say they're doing a worse job today. 70% of teens and young adults are more likely to commit violence in conflicts, and 69% of teens and young adults are more likely to binge drink. All right, Dr. Fisher, why these alarming statistics?
Well, I think the issues with mothers is that there's so many responsibilities placed on mothers between being working moms and also taking care of kids, or even being stay-home moms. There's a lot of talk that goes on who's a better mom, how to become a better mom, so there's a lot of pressure they're putting on themselves. In terms of dads, they're more involved than dads used to be, so I think they're more aware of their performance, and they're aware that there's a lot more they like to do with their kids, but are also feeling some of the demands. And in terms of kids, a lot of the children's behaviors and the young adults' behaviors is really because they're trying to find a place where they fit in our culture, and I think there's issues that play into our culture that lead to the behaviors that our kids are having difficulties with these days.
All right. Yeah, because that's frightening. About 70% of teens and young adults more likely to commit violence in conflicts, which I think would back up the moms and dads thinking they're doing a worse job.
Exactly.
So where is that coming from?
Well, our culture's been changing over the last 20 to 30 years from a more control-based culture to one that is actually more empowering. And the irony of calling somebody an empowered parent is that the gift of becoming an empowered parent is to give more power to your kids, not to be free, but to give them some of the ability to make choices. You're putting limits in place, you're giving them some guidance and definition, but you're also letting them learn how to live life, not just controlling life for them.
Okay, all right. You refer to the hierarchy-based family models in your book.
Right.
And you say that's a bad thing?
Well, what happens is when there's a hierarchical-based model, it basically, I talk about it in terms of circles, so big circle to little circle. When you have people who are controlling people below them, the people below them either can do what they're told, or they're going to fight for more power. So where you have a lot of your kids who become more defiant, they're often wanting to be the big circle. One of the first questions I ask my families when they come to the office, I'll draw the circles on the board, and I'll ask even 2- and 3-year-olds, which circle do you want to be? Most kids want to be the big circle. Right there I help parents to see where the issues are coming from. So when we understand that actually by trying to enforce our power, we create more problems, we learn that the most intelligent thing we can do is to give power to receive it in return.
But what kind of power are you talking about? Because that, if I left it up to my children, oh, who knows what would happen? So how do you empower them without giving them the power?
Right. And that's where we get into the equity model of parenting. The equity model of parenting says that everybody is basically has the same amount of power, but we have different gifts, strengths, weaknesses, handicaps, wisdom, experience, knowledge, and understanding. As we understand that our children have gifts and strengths, then we can help them to work towards them. Most children start to misbehave when they feel that their power's been abused or taken advantage of, and when they stop trusting their parents that their parents are looking out for their best interests, then they start looking out for themselves. So a parent has to be very wise to their issues, and that's really the key to being more empowered, is to empower yourself to look at yourself and be reflective in yourself. If you're living an equity-based life, you will do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that's a lot of the key behind this.
Let me ask you this, Dr. Fisher, though, because when I was growing up, I knew that my dad would kill me if I did such and such. And he was the hierarchy in the family.
Right.
I think a lot of children don't have that healthy fear of their parents the way some of us did back in the day.
Well, there's two types of respect that I talk about. One is a fear-based respect, which is basically what you're talking about, that says as long as you are in my presence, or as long as your arm can reach to grab me, I'll behave. But what happens when you're out of your parents' reach? You then start to do whatever you darn well please. You know, and that happens with kids who are so tightly controlled and they go to college and they go crazy. That's where some of the binge drinking comes from. Their parents aren't around them.
Okay.
But if you look at a love-based respect, it says, I will learn to love and respect myself, and I will love and respect other people.
Okay.
And one of the keys is, you know, I have a 2-year-old daughter and I've been doing this for 15 years. A lot of parents would say, well, how can you tell me how to parent my child when you aren't even a parent? I said, because I remember what it was like to be a kid.
Okay.
And that's important.
Give me a couple of quick examples, because just so we can follow you on.
Okay. Well, I have my 2-year-old daughter, for example. We've given her limits since she was 8 months old. We have helped to guide her in situations to where we were doing timeout at 8 months, and some people would say you can't do that with a child that young. You can. It's just you have to be focused and short-term in those limits. And she learned so well to put things back where they were when they were out of place, that we were in the store, and she was playing with some little key ring things. And what she did is she put all, when we said it was time to go, she put all the key rings back on where they were in the first place and in colored order. And this was at about 18 months.
Wait till she's 13. No.
Well, but that's the fear. I mean, that's the ironic fear, is that people feel afraid that parenting has to be a hard job, and everybody says, just wait, just wait, just wait. I have loved being a parent, because I heard the twos were going to be bad, and it's been a great time.
The twos are nothing. Hey, Dr. Erik Fisher, The Art of Empowered Parenting. You have 2 book signings. The first one is at Fireside, and that is from what time today?
From 4 to 6:30 today in Chagrin Falls.
And then at Barnes & Noble on Chagrin Boulevard at 7 until what time?
9 o'clock.
Beautiful. Dr. Fisher, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate
Very
it.
good to have you. So come home with me just to, just to see what 15, 13, and 11 is like. All right.